Yeah, you know what? We got to learn how to practice. I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's one of the biggest adjustments. We practice at a very high tempo, and when you do something for the first time, it's only the third time doing this, right? And the amount of organization that goes into our practices, and where you have to be, how fast you have to get there. Not only that, then you got to get the play and get the play snapped within 20 seconds. So there's a lot of that a little bit of. They're just not decisive enough yet, but they'll get there. We're taking every day. We've got a little bit better at that, and I think our players are understanding that pretty quickly.
You got all your players back too, the junior and the other guys. So nice to get them into the fold and practicing and on the same page.
Yeah, that's really nice. First of all, those guys are students first, and they went through a policy that the university sets, and I'm just glad to have the guys back and have that behind us, and as we move forward, just continue to change our best and continue to learn as students first, and then athletes second. I'm proud of the football team as a whole. Just the way they've been able to grow and change as we continue to move forward.
Coach, why do you get so involved? Why do you get so involved running up and down and getting so involved in all the drills?
Well, my wife always tells me this. She goes, the tough part about the standard is you are the standard. That's not only just here, that's in the household too, So that's true. If I don't have the energy, how can they bring the energy? How can our coaches bring the energy? And that's not something I try to do. I think a lot of people look at me and go, oh, he's trying to be like that. I'm just me. Right? And I just like being me, and I don't have to be anybody else but myself. And our coaching staff, I don't want them being anybody else but themselves, and the players the same way. But the culture demands a certain amount of energy from everybody within the organization. And we watched this morning or this afternoon. We showed him Theo Epstein, the top dog there for the Chicago Cubs. We showed him his vision 4 or 5 years ago. And he talked about the right people in the organization that understand their role at a very, very high level. And he said, when we win the World Series, here's what it's going to look like, and this is how we're going to do it. It's the same thing within our organization and our football program. There's a high standard of how we do things. Not what we do, but how we do it. I think that's really important, set from the head coach, and then works its way down.
You talk about it, fast-paced and they have to catch up. It's only been the third practice. When do you think that they should get on the same pace with you?
Not anytime soon, to be honest with you, especially when our expectations continue to change. One thing about our program from this point forward is there is no ceiling. We're going to take and break the ceiling, break the glass ceiling every single day, and we're going to create a new one. And that's all the change your best type mentality. And that holds true for the coaches, that holds true for myself, that holds true for the administration, our players, everybody within it has to continue to grow higher. So it's kind of like that story. It's a long way to 500, but you never really reach it. But every day you're striving towards it. And I think that's really important for these guys to understand that.
And that's why outside today?
Outside, well, first of all, it's sunny. We're in Minnesota, and it's in March, and it's above 30 degrees. You bet we're outside. It was a beautiful day out there. So that's football weather right there. That was terrific.
Did you surprise the players by deciding to go outside, or did they know?
I don't know. It's football. It's played outside. So for me, Joe, it was just let's get them outside. We've been in here a long time. Winter conditioning, a little bit early in spring ball. Football's played outside. Let's get outside. We do play in Minnesota, so we want to make sure we get out there. And again, I thought it was a beautiful day, so we needed to get outside, get the fresh air. We haven't practiced on that field before. Some of where do we go? The dynamics of our field and where you go have changed the minute you walk outside. Everybody's used to this in here, so it's kind of changing the environment on them a little bit too.
Now that you got them in pads, how much talent do you have? Do you have more than you thought you had or less than you thought you had?
I think we had to go back and look at the film. I will say this, we are willing to do a lot of things, and I think we do have some talent. I really do. I believe that. We've got some guys that can really move. We've got guys that have a lot of length. I just got to be able to see how, as we move forward, what kind of speed we have. They're just learning the system right now, so it's kind of hard to see how fast a kid's going to play when he really isn't decisive enough to play at that high level. So I think that's what we're starting to see. We see kids with athleticism, but we don't see them playing as fast as we know they're going to play eventually, but they're willing to do it. So that's the first box you want to check. Are they willing to do it? And they are. I know you guys haven't seen much of us practice, but I hope when you watch it, that's only a third time practicing in a crazy culture, in a crazy type atmosphere. It looks like we've been doing it a lot longer than we have, at least from my perspective. It's better than kind of the start of where I've been, different places, especially within the first 3 practices. But, comparisons will kill your joy. So I'm not sitting there comparing myself or us to other teams we've had. It's just looking at that, taking it is what it is, and taking where we're at and saying, this is pretty good for the third practice.
coach with the 5 guys that got reinstated. Did you sit down and talk with them? And if so, what was your message to them?
Well, the only thing I did sit down and talk with them was just to verify that they did receive the letter from the university, that they were reinstated. And like I said, they're students first, and they went through the whole university policy, all the steps, the 3 major steps they had to go through. And I thought we did a tremendous job of handling all that. And I thought all those kids did all the right things off the field. When the whole investigation was going, they were in class, they were where they're supposed to be when they were supposed to be there, and I thought they handled everything with class. And again, the university handles that part, so it almost separates it a little bit from me. And I was not even here during that whole time. I just said we're going to follow the university policy, and what happens at the end happens, and we'll kind of play the cards we're dealt.
PJ, how tough will it be with 5 or 6 offensive linemen this spring?
We had 5 out there today. We had 5. I've never been around a program going into spring or during spring that there's 5 healthy linemen. Like, we don't have the 6th yet. And so literally we had a kid break a shoelace. I mean, it was like the world stopped today. Like the world stopped turning for a minute. I'm sitting there looking, what are we waiting for? Let's go get another guy in. But you can't get the guy in. There's nobody else. I was literally ready to play left tackle. And the problem was it was a pass play, and I had a pass set against Winston. It would not have been good. So I kind of just let it take its course. Run play, maybe I would have got away with it. So just cut the guy or something. So, but it's a challenge. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. What the problem is the 22 surgeries we've had. We've got to be able to get fixed. We've got to be able to have. That's why Dan Nickel here is with our strength program, and then the training staff as we continue to move forward, get that better as we continue to move. So again, it's the combination of that. And but there's 5 linemen, and they are doing a tremendous job. I don't think you know how hard it is to do what they just did, and they're gonna have to do it again on Thursday, do it again on Saturday. But we have young guys out there. A lot of those guys haven't started any games. Maybe those guys won't even be starters come the fall, but they are getting valuable reps. And that's how we discussed it with them. We said, we're going to give you valuable reps. We're going to give you a break, right? And we're going to cut the team reps down a little bit just so you guys don't have to go 12 team reps in a row at times. But I thought they handled it perfectly. They haven't complained. They haven't moaned. They haven't groaned. They just gone out there, changed their best, put their oar in the water, and went. And that's impressive.
You talk about your style of practices. Have you cut down the periods because of that to save offensive linemen?
We've taken really 2 periods out, but we have a certain time frame we want to hit, right? So whether we add the 2 periods or take the 2 periods out and add plays to other periods, it's all pretty much the same. But again, we limited our team reps today. Usually we're around 10 to 12 team reps. We went down to 6 today, but we added in the 7-on-7 department where we have a lot of depth, but we don't have the offensive line depth. So it's a juggling act as a head coach because every spring has different challenges. This one's the upfront challenge. And, with all those guys having surgery and all those guys being out, I know they're looking forward to being back on that field, but it's not going to be anytime soon. So we got to do what we have to do with what we have and just attack every challenge every single day and do the best we possibly can with what's here.
We'll take 2 more. Early assessment of your quarterback spot. It's an open competition.
It took 7 questions to get to that one. No, that'd be the first. Yeah. I will say this. I'm proud of all the guys. It's to be able to come in as with a brand new system that really isn't that much. It's not very similar to what they had. So it's brand new, terminology new, and have all those guys commit the way they have. I'm very proud of that process. But, I think the guys that are really kind of showing a lot, you look at, Connor's doing a tremendous job of picking everything up. Is he where he's going to be? No way. We are so far away from being an elite football team right now. But he's picking up the offense, his command of the offense. He's learning how to be a leader on the offense, how to be an elite quarterback in terms of running the offense the way he needs to run it. And then Demery Cross doing a really nice job. Tanner Morgan's doing a nice job. But you start to see them all progressing more and more each day. Now, we've had 2 installs over the course of 3 practices. Now 4, 5, and 6 are 1 install per practice now. Now we're going to start going. But the nuts and the bolts and the base, 25% of the offense is in. But now it's going to start picking up situational football. And that's where I really want to see how they handle themselves. Football is a game of situations. It's not just plays, right? It's not just practice. Now you got to go play the game. But I think we've already played the game a few times. You saw the last few periods of actually us getting off the field, guys going out there and playing it. We have to do that a lot more, especially with a lot of courses with not much experience.
You guys have one more?
You talk about the physicality of the practices, but also the speed. Do you find that helps them mentally too, kind of adjust to the game? And do you see that aspect as well?
Yeah, I want them to grow in organized chaos, right? And that's what we create at practice. It's very organized, but it's chaotic. And that's what the game's like. the game can be chaotic at times, but you've got to be able to keep your mentality. You've got to be able to keep your poise. And that's an elite football team. And when you can have poise in very chaotic situations, you can have an elite football team. So we create that as much as we possibly can, even from a coaching staff. But again, we want to keep our guys upright. We want to keep them healthy, but you want to be physical at the same time. But the physicality comes right between the ears. That's the biggest part, that mental toughness to be able to go out there every single day and continue to change your best, find ways to become a better football team, and do something maybe you didn't do as well yesterday, do it better today.
Thank you,
Right.
guys.
You got it, guys. Roll the
Thanks,
boat.
Coach.
Got him out. Thanks.